To the city of Edmonton, you are welcome.
Now, half of you must subscribe to our Patreon page as payment.
We didn't. This isn't what we were. We didn't want to be involved with Edmonton in this way. We felt bad, and as hockey fans, you hate to see McDavid's legitimate, like literal prime be wasted away. But they were supposed to help us. We were supposed to take advantage of them. They were vulnerable.
No one's trading to Ken Holland now.
No! That's it. That was our chance to trade, get our King's ransom. A better trade.
Now everyone hates Ken Holland because there's no bottom rung GM anymore. Well, maybe there is, but we haven't evaluated.
Oh, there is.
What's Sweeney doing?
The Edmonton Oilers lost to, at the time, the literal last place team in the NHL, and apparently that was enough for Katz and Bob Nicholson to go, oh yeah, we gotta, this is...
Didn't even make it to the third period.
Yeah, in the middle of the game.
They fired him at second intermission.
Yeah, he asked what he had to do with his 50-50 tickets.
No way.
No, I made that up.
Oh my... Okay, alright. Before we start laughing at me, that's how crazy things have gotten, where I actually had to ask if that was a serious question. The reasoning for firing him in the middle of the game was they wanted to give him a chance to leave the building quietly. To which I say, why not fire him when they're not playing a game with 20,000 people
Old
in the building?
Boys Club.
The 2 p.m. in the afternoon when all the reporters are at home preparing the notes, nobody's in the arena, seems simple. But I don't know. I'm smelling a little bit of BS there. I tend to think it was a combination of they were going to fire him anyway, but then that game was just, again, they were having their show run by because again, Edmonton caught up in shots in the third period. They outshot Detroit 17-3 in the third. But up to that point, Detroit was absolutely running Edmonton's show. And they're just like, no, this is it. We're done. Chop them right now. Someone, I don't know if it was Nicholson or the owner, someone just snapped and they're like, that's it. We're done.
I like how we're the benchmark for failure.
At least Detroit's a benchmark for something.
Yeah, I guess.
They allowed him to sign Mikko Koskinen to a multi-year deal worth over $3 million per year with, I think he had 39 NHL games under his belt at that point. You could very well pay out. You generally don't guarantee money to goalies for more than 2 years for that much money when they have only played 39
If you're
NHL
thinking
games.
of firing someone, why do they still have the keys to the car?
According to Bob Nicholson, that contract was a collaborative effort, but one of the Oilers beat writers did manage to find out that, sure, everybody above Chiarelli might have signed off on it, but that was his contract that he negotiated.
Yeah. According to Bob Nicholson, is the easiest way to qualify any sentence that's to come afterwards as completely invalid.
Yeah, if you say that's a collaborative thing, that does not make your fan base feel better. Unless this guy turns into an absolute stud, but
so we're gonna go more into Chiarelli for sure. Like, yeah, it's crappy to kick the guy while he's down, but
what are we gonna talk about on the podcast anymore?
A reporter
Applicator?
Oh no! Oh, I forgot about that.
A reporter flat out asked Bob Nicholson, in so many words, whether Chiarelli was only part of the problem, and then this old boys club, including Nicholson himself, is part of like the root of all of this. And Nicholson just went completely past him. He's like, yeah, there's something in the water here in Edmonton that's causing us to not put things together, and I'd really like to fix it. Not realizing that the reporter was talking about him. Nicholson's what's in the water. Bob Nicholson, Edmonton. Citizens of Edmonton, Bob Nicholson is in your water. Get him out. And then they were, what did he say? He said something, it was their biggest need now.
Character.
Their biggest need that they're going to address is getting character around Connor McDavid. Not defenseman, not talent, not scoring, character.
Maybe just don't talk. Just don't talk.
So, listening to the 31 Thoughts podcast, the Elliot Friedman was talking about just that, the old boys club, and if that was having a thing. And in Elliot's own way, he managed to kibosh the idea, and yet, in my mind, further back it up. Because he was saying, no. Gretzky, Kevin Lowe, McTavish, they do not force their way in this organization. They give their input. They are asked for their opinions. They give their opinions, but they are not the ones that are making the decisions. If they're not making the decisions, but they're giving their opinions, they're still influencing the decision. Apparently, from what I gather too, shockingly, Wayne Gretzky seems to be the voice of reason in that organization. Because apparently Elliot didn't say a specific scenario, but Cates was ready to jump off the deep end with something, and Wayne was like, breathe, buddy. Whoa.
What was it?
They don't know. Elliot didn't say what the specific circumstance was.
know.
There was another thing too. Apparently, Cates is the one who pushed them to take Yakupov first overall. For whatever that's worth.
Okay, but you know what?
He was ranked first overall.
We cannot hold
yeah.
it. Everyone is surprised that Yakupov didn't pan out. And even though hindsight is 2020, if you look at the reasoning as to why Yakupov didn't pan out, that's still not 2020.
No, but at the time of the draft, Yakupov was the favorite to go number 1, but he was in consensus. Ryan Murray and him were very close in a lot of polls, and at the time it made far more sense for Edmonton to take a defenseman. So it could have just been one of those things. I don't know. We're touring guys, and Cates comes in. Yakupov, take the forward, take the flash, whatever it might be. Either way, it doesn't matter. Getting back to the point, yeah, it sounds like the old boys club is very much a thing here. Even if they have,
Just because you say it's not doesn't mean it is. Sorry. Yeah. Does that make sense?
I think it's. I think they're it sounds like they're an accidental old boys club. Like, yeah, these guys aren't forcing their opinions, but if you're still asking for them all the time, it's gonna influence how you run the team.
Yeah.
I mean, not that we don't know. They might not be giving bad opinions. This could be Chiarelli trumping them all, and
no, yeah, no.
No,
they still employ 2 of their 4 former general managers.
Think of it like this.
Craig McTavish and Kevin Lowe still have jobs with the Edmonton Oilers.
If they didn't make a single trade, their team would be exponentially better.
They would have problems getting under the cap because they would have so many valuable players.
The most valuable person in the organization would have been if they just hired the don't do that guy. Paid someone $100K a year to stand behind the gym and just repeatedly say, don't do that.
Just like don't have a GM.
Like Sean McVay's strength and conditioning coach that also pulls him back from the sidelines.
Yeah.
Like that guy. No, don't make that trade. Yeah. No, don't sign that guy.
Yeah. 100%.
Funniest and stupidest take, I'm going to have my Brad moment of anyone with half a brain, including myself, called this the moment it happened. People are saying, I read something and I wish I would have remembered the exact wording so I could be the jerk who calls out this person. But they said something like, well, a lot of people praised the Lucic contract when it was signed. No one did. Everyone called it the worst contract in the NHL the moment pen hit paper.
There are definitely Oilers beat writers who called it a good contract.
Oh my God.
There is definitely.
Somebody must have somewhere.
Through and through. The fact that Rick DiPietro is still being paid by the New York Islanders does not reach the levels of stupidity that contract is.
That's not even the worst contract in New York. That, what's his name?
Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah, that guy.
$1 million every July 1st from 2000 to like 2029.
Yeah.
Good for him.
That's the type of career I want.
Oh, God, yeah. If I go in the NHL right now, I'm getting my bell rung. I'm getting spines cracking.
For league minimum, I do it.
Does Chiarelli get a job in the NHL ever again?
No.
Yes.
No.
I think he does, and I hate it.
Not as a GM. But he will be an assistant GM, an advisor, a consultant, something of hockey ops somewhere.
He's got to do something right at the GM position to have been a GM for as long as he has been.
Now keep in mind, we only look at the hockey decisions. The general manager does so much more than that within the organization. Like, they have to manage up, they have to manage expectations with the president, the owner, yada, yada, yada. They have to relay messages down to the team. So for all we know, Peter Chiarelli might be an excellent communicator within the organization. That might be his sweet spot. He's a very good buffer between the team and the higher-ups. And that's why he keeps getting jobs. That's why... Because his hockey decisions are catastrophically bad and have always been. So he's got to be doing something well to keep getting jobs, and that might very well be it. So he might fall, or probably will fall if that's the case, into another position in another organization where he's not on the hockey ops side of things, but he's still in the management end of it.
As long as it's in the Atlantic and not on Detroit.
Yeah, I'm petrified right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's two sides of the coin. There's Steve Yzerman on the one, and there's Peter Chiarelli on the other, and I hope it's not a 50-50 toss.
On that note, Ken Holland has come up as a name to possibly move over to Edmonton. Things that Edmonton need. The polar, like, if Peter Chiarelli and the Old Boys Club is one hand, the other hand is like the Kyle Dubises of the world, right? The John Shakos. And I think Edmonton needs more of the latter. Someone to clean house, do some evidence-based decision-making. So
Detroit isn't at the same level of boys club as Edmonton, but Detroit definitely has a lot of people that are still
they make
in
a lot
the
of
organizations, and we're very lucky that a lot have not been boneheaded hires.
Yeah.
So where was I going with this point?
So
no. What I'm saying is, I think Edmonton needs something more like that, but that's an idealist view if you're just like an objective hockey fan or an Oilers fan. A lot of people are saying Ken Holland wouldn't be good. Do I think he'd be the best? No. However, Ken Holland, if you put him on a team that has an established core of stars or a superstar, I can think of worse GMs to manage that team.
Ken Holland would have one very key effect in Edmonton. If there's a guy who needs to go in there and change the culture, Kenny's the guy. That's been his biggest thing in Detroit forever. Culture, culture, culture. He knows that you have to get everybody from top down to buy into the same message, the same model, yada, 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 which does not look like it's happening in Edmonton right now, because even a lot of what Nicholson was saying in his presser from a strategy standpoint is the opposite of what Chiarelli was doing.
McDavid looks 20 years older than he did last year because of all this.
Question: have you seen Chiarelli and Hugh Jackson in the same room at the same time? I'm just putting it up there.
I read a very funny story about Hugh Jackson's hiring today.
Yeah. Firing.
Hiring. I heard a funny story about his hiring.
I heard a funny story about his firing. You first.
Okay, so his funny story about his hiring was the powers that be that were in the interview had interviewed two coaches through the full interview process, and they were making the decision. The votes were 4-1. Okay? 4 votes in favor of hiring Sean McDermott, the current Buffalo Bills head coach. 1 vote for Hugh Jackson, and Haslam was the vote for Hugh Jackson.
Oh, God.
So he just
Haslam
had his
being
way.
the owner.
Yeah. He's just like, nope, we're hiring Hugh Jackson. And Sean McDermott has gone over and done a fantastic job for the Bills, so I'm thankful for that.
When Hugh Jackson was fired from the Cleveland Browns of the NFL, for those of you who don't know,
I didn't know this.
Jack Dorsey, the GM, and someone else walked into his office and they let him go. And when they asked him, Hugh Jackson asked them for a reason, and they said something like, "The team gave up on you, like however many games into the season." And Hugh Jackson, having just been fired, said the words, "Get the out of my office."
What a legend.
Hugh?
Feel like maybe, Hugh, you maybe missed the point of this one.
Conversation.
In fairness to Peter Chiarelli, he has handled his firing gracefully. He's put out a very generic statement, hasn't been in media.
Yeah.
He's somewhere warm right now.
That organization still has a long way to go, though.
So let's get into that, because
What do you mean? They just signed their next starting goalie.
Well, factual statement is factual.
Yeah.
And then they sign him to that extension, and then Detroit proceeds to score 3 on him. Out of the 3 goals, none of them should have went in.
That Larkin one, Koskinen looked like he was just snoozing.
The second Glendening. When I say second Glendening one, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But that second Glendening one, it looked like he almost put it through his stomach. But
oh man, Darren Helm's a 40-goal scorer.
What a hard shot.
I just want to point out here too, since a couple episodes ago we were comparing Abdelkader to Glendening. Glendening literally scores a goal, possibly through a goalie. Justin Abdelkader missed an empty net breakaway.
It's amazing. So we got some feedback after the last episode saying, guys, we get it, Abby's bad. Let's maybe switch it up. And I was like, yeah, you know what? We have been laying it a little thick. But then he goes and does that. I'm like, man, come on.
He misses an empty net.
It writes itself.
In Edmonton, in a one-goal game. If there are 10 more seconds on the clock, we're in Patrick Stefan 2.0.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Empty net breakaway.
And I'm mad Patrick Stefan 2.0 didn't happen because the Detroit Red Wings launched from 31st in the league up to 26th.
They have since come down to 4th last, I believe.
Is it 4th last?
I think there was a game last night that affected them.
Still 26.
Still 26?
Yeah, but
everyone they were 4th.
Everyone behind them besides Chicago can leapfrog them with the games in hand.
Yeah, because that's going to happen.
It happened last time.
Yeah, that's true. So anyways, let's get back to Edmonton because I want to talk about Nicholson's presser because if we want to summarize the level of just utter chaos and lack of direction in the Oilers front office, he made the following 2 statements. I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but he said, "We are not moving assets for quick fixes." And then he also proceeded to say, "The expectation is that we make the playoffs this year."
Mm-hmm.
So that's
how many more minutes can McDavid play a night?
Yeah.
Because that to make the playoffs, since you're not getting a new coach, he also said Ken Hitchcock isn't going anywhere. So you're not changing the coach. You don't plan on improving the team through using your assets. Is your plan just to tell the team to be better?
Why should Ken Hitchcock go anywhere?
No, he should. I don't care about that. I'm just saying he expects his team to make the playoffs, which then implies they have to improve.
Yeah.
But he's not willing to sell future assets to improve the team.
So they're just going to live in purgatory, basically.
I am so confused. Unless he's looking at like Athanasius or Colton Parayko who have term, but then do you know how many future assets you have to sell to improve the team?
So apparently some version of Edmonton, I don't know if it's the Chiarelli era or the post-Chiarelli era, is actively interested in a player like Athanasiu.
As they should be. He'd be a perfect complement to McDavid.
An Athanasiu trade is different than a Nyquist trade. Athanasiu is 24 years old and has shown a huge outburst in production and talent this year. Realization of raw talent is especially rare when you have a lot of raw talent, and that is a fast player who can generate chances and put pucks in the net. To play on McDavid's wing, you have the luxury of moving Draisaitl around. You now have 2 strong scoring lines. That is huge for Edmonton, and he's only 24 years old.
And he's contract controlled for another 3 years.
Is it 3 years or 1? How much time does he have?
He's not a UFA until 27.
Really?
And if he's only 24, he's
Oh, you're talking about UFA, RFA. Oh,
yeah,
I was like, his contract only goes till next year, right?
He's controlled
Yeah. Okay,
for 3 more years. So again, that's...
It's like, what did I miss?
But again, if you're the Red Wings, and again, Friedman was talking about this on the 31 podcast, they're not looking to move him. And if they did, they would be asking for a king's ransom in return.
Evan Bouchard.
Evan
Bouchard.
Evan Bouchard.
So
he's not French.
I read a few. It's funny because people don't know how to value either Bouchard or Athanasiu.
Well, it would be hard to value Athanasiu.
A lot of Red Wings fans are saying no, Athanasiu wouldn't get Bouchard, and a lot of fans, not Red Wings fans, are saying Bouchard wouldn't be enough.
I tend to fall into the latter. Bouchard wouldn't be enough. Because, not that I'm saying Athanasiu will be a better NHLer than Evan Bouchard, because we don't know that. I think Evan Bouchard's got a legitimate possibility to be a number 2 defenseman on a good team. The thing is, we know Andreas Athanasiu is a good top 6 forward in the NHL right now. We don't know that Evan Bouchard is a good NHL player. So there's an element of a gamble there. So you would expect a kicker, not a huge kicker, but just a little bit of an insurance policy, a 2nd-round pick, a half-ass prospect. Maybe it's like I don't know who else is in their system that's not Kyler Yamamoto or Jesse Puljujarvi, a Tyler Benson maybe.
I would do it straight up.
Isn't he their leading scorer this year?
Who?
Tyler Benson?
No, he hasn't played an NHL game yet.
I meant, well, that doesn't mean he can't be on Edmonton. I meant on their AHL team.
Maybe. I haven't paid that much attention to the Bakersfield Condors.
Who can predict what Edmonton's going to do now? So they currently
apparently everything and nothing.
This is the art of war.
The GM role is currently being undertaken by Bob Nicholson, which terrible, and Keith Gretzky. Those 2 guys.
Half of that guy's name is fantastic.
So yeah, Keith is a wonderful name because you have to think from the ages 0 to 8. That would have been hilarious to be just calling a little kid Keith.
Did you guys see the thing they did at MSG, and it was they were playing the Coyotes, and it was the Family Guy little part where they're like, they go up to some security door and they're like things like, the question is, what is the worst name? And it's like, and they're like, Keith. And then they show a picture of Keith Yandel on the bench, and he looks up and just starts laughing.
Where was this, in Dallas?
No, it was at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, in New York.
Yeah.
My favorite troll over the PA is still in the Milwaukee Bucks. After Kawhi Leonard committed a turnover while the Raptors were playing him, they played the Kawhi laugh over the sound system.
God.
I love that laugh.
He's good. He's very good.
He's real good at the basketball.
The only people I love more than Kawhi Leonard in the NBA. LeBron James, I'm not sorry, and Greg Popovich.
His interviews are amazing.
Oh God,
the
I
best.
love Pop so much. So one of his former assistant coaches, who's now on a different team, called him like the greatest coach of all time, and Pop, they told him, he's like, oh, what a kiss ass. What a kiss ass. That's why I got rid of that guy. No good.
What a legend.
Oh, and that's how everybody in the Detroit Red Wings organization keeps their job. Anyways.
Did we say welcome to the Winged Wheel podcast?
No, we didn't.
Welcome to the Winged Wheel podcast. We're 21 minutes in. Well, yeah, just about.
Our main topic today is the Edmonton Oilers and the firing of Peter
Yeah, we're an Edmonton Oilers podcast now.
Well, I'm being serious when I say like the Red Wings lost a big trade partner.
No, they literally did. But I don't know what's going to happen because I'm confused. They want to improve, but they're not willing to sell assets. I have a feeling, my gut feeling now is Edmonton's going to get stagnant and they're going to do barely anything at the deadline because they're confused.
I think so, and I think everyone in there is going to be a little bit petrified because basically the figurehead of the old boys club just got fired, and Bob Nicholson and everyone else must be feeling that they're not safe. Cates, you know who the only person who can save this organization, convince the Cates family to clean house and then step the hell back?
Connor McDavid.
Throw up a fit, say, I will hold out, I will leave, I won't stand for this. I know I am this entire franchise. I'm the greatest player you've had since Gretzky. I could very well be the greatest player since Gretzky, but you've been surrounding me with crap.
God, imagine if he had, just some competent bums.
Fire Lowe, fire McTavish, fire Nicholson, fire all of them. Bring in evidence-based decision-making. Bring in not necessarily just experience, but just common sense and logic. Shit, if they play Twitch Let's Play Edmonton Oilers, I think they'd be at a better spot than they were now.
I got two names to keep an eye on.
Brad doesn't know what that is. Do you know what Twitch is?
Yeah, I know what Twitch is.
Oh, okay.
Remember like Twitch plays Pokemon?
Yes.
Alright.
Okay.
Anyways, two names to keep an eye on.
Keith
For GN.
Gretzky.
Sure. What is the worst first
Mark
name?
Hunter and Kelly McCrimmon. Both have ties. Both would be first-time NHL GMs, but kind of come from that old school, no-nonsense background. Excellent talent evaluators.
The same wavelength, Brad. This is kind of cute.
So
I am.
If I had to put money on any candidates, those are my two front runners. I have no idea if Edmonton's going to try and get someone before the end of the season, or they're going to ride this season out and then hope that Kenny Holland becomes available or something. I honestly don't know, but it's going to be interesting.
There are a lot of factors in play now that would motivate Holland to at least consider an earlier exit than the possible one more year as GM while Eisman's on as an advisor and then he steps back. That is, I mean, I completely probably expect the guy to take the route of I want to stay with this organization forever and I know my time is finally up, I'll step into that executive role while Eisman steps in as a GM. However, if he truly wants to keep GMing as he said, Seattle's open. Edmonton is open now. Someone name me another team that's open because my tone of voice suggested more than two teams on this list.
I would still prefer to go to Seattle. Not only do you not have to live in Edmonton,
you get to live in
but
Seattle.
you don't inherit the mistakes of your predecessor. He's got a lot of anchors to deal with in Edmonton, whereas you step into Seattle, you get to make your own mistakes. Sorry, yeah, Seattle. You go into Seattle, make your own mistakes. Yeah.
I'd rather GM Edmonton.
I mean, you get McDavid.
I'm starting with the key. I have the hardest thing to acquire in the game of hockey. An elite, generational talent. I'd rather build around him than build from scratch.
Brad's too old for the hipster lifestyle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, too much flannel for me.
Way too much.
I watched this show on Netflix. It's I can't remember what it's called, but essentially they just like renovate rental homes like Airbnbs, and
That could be any show on HGTV.
they make it better. And it's not Instant Hotel, which is also a good one. It is called Stay Here, and the first one they did was a houseboat on Seattle, and you can rent it for like $700 a night or something nuts like that, plus
That's
fees and everything.
actually not that bad.
Is it like a yacht
For a
or is this
houseboat.
like a pontoon boat?
No, it's like a houseboat, like typical houseboat. Like, have you seen the pictures of houseboats in Amsterdam?
Ryan, I have never seen a houseboat in my life. I
They
live in Southern
liter-
Ontario.
Think of it like
Yeah, but you're
An
white.
R-
Isn't that part of your like white adulthood exam?
Listen,
yeah, it's a
Ryan.
bonus question. It's a bonus
This is a
section.
bonus question. I've been to a cottage.
Okay.
They're like RVs that are on water.
Yeah, that's a great way.
And
But
you don't need a boater's license to drive one.
You don't?
No,
Because well, I can't drive my own house, Ossifer.
they don't go that fast. But
Well,
our friends
it doesn't
have
matter. I have my boating license.
yeah, our friends have a cottage
Part
where
of
you
the
can
white
rent
person
them.
Ontario exam.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah, they're our friends. For his bachelor party, there was like 10 of them. They rented one, just dudes. And apparently, like after the first night, they're like, "People need to sleep outside. It smells too bad in
Yeah,
here."
no, I'm not. I lived in a dorm in university in first year. I
Yeah.
had no interest. It was an L-shaped wing, and as you turn the corner, you could smell the men,
Oh yeah,
which
Oh,
is
yeah.
probably the grossest quote I've had on this show to
you can
date.
smell the men.
Are we done with Edmonton? Have we fleshed out as much as we can?
Well, I feel like we got very tangential during it, but I think if you piece together the parts, yeah, we covered just about everything we should.
The Detroit Red Wings, I will make a bet right now, will garner 0 points in the standings over the next 8 days. Moving on. The All-Star break. is coming.
My favorite was, even though I sent out the tweet, all the people that tweeted at me losing their minds when Hronek got sent to Grand
Oh,
Rapids.
yeah.
I'm like, guys, the Wings don't play, at the time, I'm like, the Wings don't play for 10 days. He's going to play for Grand Rapids so he can actually play.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is going to take some explaining, and I saw you tweeted it, I'm like, thank God. But it's still, yeah, no. Going to the Sunday, we'll cover more of the All-Star break.
Yeah, and Craig Cousins also put out a really long piece about Jeff Blashill.
Yeah.
We're going to do a deep dive into that on Sunday.
Uh-huh.
So, because there's nothing else to talk about. There's no more games between now and the next episode.
And the episode after, I believe.
Yeah. So those would be next week's episode, weekday episode's the Patreon exclusive. The
Oh, that's
topic request.
right. That's so perfect.
Love that timing, buddy.
Patrons.
So then Evan's idea
Thank
of the mid-season awards we'll do Sunday.
Oh beer. Wait, which Sunday?
This Sunday, because there's
Oh,
nothing else
beer.
going on.
That's
You can email us your picks or text us your
I
picks.
will not.
Evan absolutely will not.
Yeah, there's no way I'll be doing
No.
that.
Zero
But it'd be
chance.
so fun for us to read your picks out loud and then just shred them without you being able to defend yourself.
It would be. He's right.
Evan, do this, please.
No.
For us. For the listeners.
No.
Evan,
Yeah, here. How about this? If I get to 1,000 followers on, I was about to say Twitch, on Twitter, by Sunday I will do it.
What's
he's
that?
9 away. He's at 991.
9? Oh my god.
At
I'm gonna create...
Hockeytown Evan.
I'm
Try to
going-
follow him.
Brad's gonna get a lot of like weird Russian sexy bots to start following.
I'm just gonna go
let's see if oh nope, I'm at 993.
I'm gonna go create fake
7
accounts.
more of you, please. At Hockeytown Evan. Please get him to 1,000 so he has to submit his picks.
Please.
And then after that, tweet at Hockeytown Evan.
What time are you doing the episode on Sunday? So that really dictates.
Morning, I would assume.
Morning.
Okay, so it has to be basically like Saturday at midnight.
That's not nearly enough time for you.
That's
We're gonna say
2 days.
Saturday at noon.
Evan, if you don't do this, we're going to get them all to tweet at you again.
That's
Remember the last
2
time that
days.
happened?
If we record at 10 a.m. on Sunday, you are absolutely not getting us your picks between midnight and 10 a.m. So let's say noon on Saturday.
Okay. I'll
You
be
can
out
do-
snowboard. No, I won't.
While
be
we're at
snowboarding
it,
Saturday.
go on Twitter, follow at Winged Wheel Pod. That's our main account, and then go to the bio.
Wait, is
all
the
of our
episode over?
all of our accounts are listed there. Follow us. We love engaging with you guys on Twitter. Sometimes when I'm like, I am far too busy, I have no time to be doing anything else besides my adult obligations, I pull out my phone and my muscle memory takes me to Twitter. I'm addicted to you freaks. This is bad. Someone please help me. Moving on. News I didn't know until right before the podcast started. Bob McKenzie's first draft list came out.
Which is also relevant because the top prospects game was last night.
Look at that.
It's really weird because Kirby Doc was number 1.
Brad said he was
silly
like,
Pot Colson.
Yeah, sorry. Right.
Brad was like, "Oh yeah, Mackenzie's list came out." I was like, "What? I didn't see that. I was looking at his Twitter feed today." And Evan's like, "Yeah, Dylan Cousins was number 1." And I looked at Evan for like 8 seconds, and I looked at Brad, and Brad just kind of smiled at me. I looked back at Evan. He's like, "Yeah." And I looked at Brad. Brad's like, "He wasn't." I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." I was like, "What happened?"
Was that on the pre-show video?
Yeah, it must have been.
Good.
I was like, "Hold on." Okay. So, what do you want to do? The list?
Let's do the top prospects game first because I got up early to watch this game for you idiots because last night what happened was I was going to stay up and watch the entirety of the game, and for those who don't understand why this was a chore, the game was in Red Deer, Alberta.
Oh boy.
A 3-hour time difference, so in Ontario time it started at 10 p.m.
The game was still in black and white too.
Yeah, so I went to put Mika to bed at first intermission because she slept in yesterday and I fell asleep on her floor. Thankfully I had the game recorded, so I finished watching this morning. But early takes. I am worried that the Red Wings do not draft in the top 3 because I think there is the drop off from Hughes to Kako to Podkolzin to the rest is bigger than I originally thought. Obviously the main focal points of the top prospects team were Kirby Doc and Dylan Cousins. I'll summarize Cousins' game last night very succinctly. I barely noticed him.
Hey, that's a Red Wings prospect right there.
Mm-hmm. He was there. He did some things. I'm sure.
Is he big? I think he's big. Oh man, we're getting him.
But he's at one of his strengths is he's actually real fast.
Oh, we're definitely getting him.
He's a big guy. He's real fast. So yeah, he was the captain of Team Cherry. Kirby Doc, who was rated a spot higher than Cousins on Bob's list, I believe. Doc was 4. Ryan, hope you have the list open. Doc was 4, Cousins was 5.
Yeah, Jack Hughes, Capo Kako, Vasily Podkolzin, Kirby Doc, Dylan Cousins are 5.
So Kirby Doc, watching him, if you want a comparison, I think he's a clone of Ryan Getzlaf. He's big, he's slow, he does not play with pace, has excellent vision and great hands. So it's his IQ and his hands that are getting him through the game because he plays at a snail's pace. Again, this is all sample size. This is one game, but for me it's always nice to see all these players against each other so you can kind of get the gauge of who stands above their peers. And Doc was good. He was definitely one of the better players in the game. Cousins was barely noticeable. My big standout for the game was Peyton Krebs.
Yeah.
I think he was rated 9, so he also plays in the WHL. Big year for the Dub. Just like it's a big year for the Dub-Dub.
Dub-Dub.
Dub-Dub, talking about the Dub. Rub-a-dub-dub, the Dub-Dub, and the Dub. Anyways. So the difference between Kirby Doc, Dylan Cousins, and Peyton Krebs is Peyton Krebs is not 6 feet tall. He's 5'11" and a quarter. Because for some reason on all these lists they started actually listing a quarter, a half, 3/4.
They've done that for a while now.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Just round, please, for love of God.
No one cares that much.
No. But Krebs has a high motor, great high Q, and what I love is he plays with pace. He's like the anti-Kirby Doc. In the sense, well, they both have high hockey IQ. So I think in my mind Krebs is up there in the same category as Doc and Cousins after watching last night's game. I admittedly have only seen Krebs a couple times over the last couple of years, but I'm going to be watching a lot more of him the rest of the year out because size doesn't matter that more anymore, right, Brian? The Red Wings don't have an emphasis on that.
Size doesn't matter.
No, they drafted Michael Rasmussen and then they said, no, we don't care about size anymore. That was our size guy, and from now on, we don't care about size. We know because we drafted Otto Kirimaki.
There's also, who's the guy who's 5'6"?
Cole Caulfield?
I don't know, he was in the game last night.
Oh, he was in the game last night. 5'6".
He's real short.
Yeah. There's a few short guys. Don't know which one you're getting at.
Hmm.
Cole Caulfield, though, the USNDTV guy, who's 5'6" and has 32 goals in 35 games. He is the second coming of Alex DeBrincat.
Whoa.
But anyway, so yeah, the biggest takeaway that I got from the game last night is I think Peyton Krebs should be in that conversation with Doc and Cousins. You look at their stats in the WHL, because again, we're talking about one game here. Sample size is obviously relevant because Cousins could have just had an off game, etc., etc. So you look at their stats for the full year. Krebs' stats are right there with Doc and Cousins, and then you have to remember Peyton Krebs plays for one of the, if not the worst teams in the WHL, whereas Cousins and Doc play for very strong teams. So, if he had a sporting cast, would his numbers be exceeding those two?
So I'm going to read off the list.
Also, Nicholas Robertson being rated in the second round is an absolute damn crime. He is so good.
I'm gonna read up Bob McKenzie's list up to 15 because we're gonna assume that the Red Wings aren't gonna be below pick 15. They're not gonna make the playoffs, so the 15.
But when we have the Oilers pick,
that's true.
I've done
the 16th pick.
I think I've done 2 tankathons so far on my phone, and I posted them. And I'm pretty sure the Oilers have won a draft lottery spot in both of them.
That's gross.
I gotta double check. It might have been someone else's I was looking at, but.
So, number 1, Jack Hughes of the National Development Team in the United States. Number 2, Capo Kakko from the Finnish League. Number 3, Vasily Podkolzin of St. Petersburg in the MHL, lower league of the KHL. Number 4, Kirby Doc of Saskatoon in the Dub. Number 5, Dylan Cousins of Lethbridge in the Dub. Number 6, Bowen Byram, the first defenseman to show up on the list.
Great name, too.
Bowen Byram of the Dub.
Of the Dub. Number 7, Matthew Boldy on the National Development Team. Number 8, Philip Broberg in the Swedish League. Number 9, Peyton Krebs, Brad's new crush, and Kootenay of the Dub.
Calling it now, Peyton Krebs is going to be my Joe Leno this year.
Trevor Zegras of the National Development Team at number 10. Alex Turcotte of the National Development Team at number 11. Ryan Suzuki, starting a little dynasty with that name, of Barrie in the OHL. That is the first name in the OHL showing up at number 12.
There's only 3 OHL players in the entire first round of Mackenzie's rankings.
Number 13, Arthur Kaliev of Hamilton in the O. Number 14, Raphael Lavoie in Halifax of the Q. And number 15, Cam York on the National Development Team, another defenseman. Those are the top 15 on Mackenzie's list.
And only 3 defensemen there, if I'm not mistaken. Byram, Broberg, York.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He is followed by Robertson and Soderstrom, also defensemen at 16 and 17.
I think there's a gap between York and them, if I'm being honest. But
York's kind of having a meteoric rise right now.
Well, he had a 7-point game, which is going to do that.
Yes, it will. It absolutely will. Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Today has been the worst day ever. And I know we promised you guys more positivity. And trust me, this is a positive episode. What we did run into was...
Not if you're an Oilers fan.
Not if you're an Oilers fan. We did run into some technical... Basically a wire crapped out on us. And luckily for myself and Evan, but not for you guys who actually are part of the Brad Brigade, Brad's voice wasn't picking up on his own mic. And so we have about the first 40 minutes of this podcast recorded.
It's closer to 30, because once we chop out that extra little bit.
That's true. It's essentially everything that we covered about Chiarelli in the Red Wings so far, and even some like trade talk. That's what we cleared. It was a good amount.
It was mostly Oilers.
Yeah. Brad will sound distant, or just like he's somewhere else in the room. You can still definitely hear him.
Because I was picking up on their mics still.
Yeah, and we did some audio engineering. My recommendation to you is when you get to that part of the episode, we're going to splice it onto the end of this. So we're going to do top prospects right now, overtime, and then splice our iffy audio onto the end. When you get to that part, balance your sound to my voice. This is Ryan, and Evan's voice. Our mics were fine. Don't balance it to Brad's, because then you'll get a big jolt when myself or Evan say something. We didn't want to throw away the audio. It was a good episode to so far, and we've only ever lost 1 episode out of the hundreds that we've done, so we want to keep that streak. So, we're just going to get started.
So, we're going to get into the top prospects, part of the conversation, prospects. So actually, this is us starting the episode now with positivity.
Yeah.
Because the Red Wings are likely going to get one of these players. Maybe multiple.
The
Edmonton.
This was a well-timed episode. Bob McKenzie's list came up today.
And the CHL top prospects game was last night.
Mm-hmm.
For me, this was last night and this morning, because I fell asleep in the first intermission because it was out west and it was a time delay, and that was annoying. Takeaway from the game to summarize. Kirby Dach is a very, very smart player who plays at a very slow pace. I have concerns about his ability to transition to an NHL pace, but his IQ and his skill are very much there. Dylan Cousins skates really fast but did not show a lot last night. Again, we're talking about one game. This is all sample size, guys, so take this with a grain of salt. My big takeaway was Peyton Krebs, I think, should be in that conversation with Dach and Cousins because he's smaller than them. He's only 5'11". Both those guys, I think, are 6'2 plus. He's very fast and has a high hockey IQ and plays with a very high motor. It's a rare combination, and he impressed the hell out of me. I think he had a goal and an assist or a goal and 2 assists. His line with Arthur Kaliev and Nick Robertson was easily the best line in the game. Nick Robertson being a second-round pick projection is criminal. That being said, he does remind me a lot of Jonathan Berggren, so go figure. But yeah, Peyton Krebs might be Joe Veleno 2.0 for me.
He's your guy this year, right?
He might be. I haven't admittedly watched a ton of Krebs this year because I've been watching more of Cousins and Dach. Krebs is going to be priority viewing for me for the rest of the year whenever I can find a stream or a game or some highlights because I came away more impressed with him last night than the other two.
So Mackenzie's list, when we started, you told me that Mackenzie's list came out today. No surprise. I was like, I was on his feed today. I didn't see anything. And then Evan turned to me and goes, "Oh yeah, Dylan Cousins was number 1." I just kind of like stared at Evan wide-eyed, and then he stared back, and I turned to you, and you kind of just stared back at me smiling, and I stared back at Evan, and I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah," and I turned back to you, and you're like, "No."
It's not as funny as when I said it the first time.
No, it's definitely not. Jack Hughes still tops Bob Mackenzie's list at number 1. Maybe I'll read out the top 15.
Read out the top 15.
The Red Wings can't finish below 15th pick because they are not making the playoffs. Number 2 from Finland, Capo Kakko. Number 3 from St. Petersburg in the MHL, the lower league of the KHL in Russia, Vasily Podkolzin. Number 4 of the Dub, the WHL has a big year, Kirby Dach. Number 5 from the Dub, Dylan Cousins. Number 6 from the Dub, first defenseman to show up on the list, Bowen Byram.
Rub-dub-dub, the dub-dub-dub.
Number 7, Matthew Boldy of the National Development Team in the States. Number 8, Philip Broberg from Sweden, another defenseman. Number 9, Peyton Krebs, Brad's new crush from the Dub. Number 10, Trevor Zegras from the National Development Team. Number 11, Alex Turcotte, also from the States. Number 12.
It's a big year for the USNDDP. I think they had 8 players ranked in the first round on Mackenzie's list.
Number 12, Ryan Suzuki, the second of his name, from Barrie in the O. The first player to show up on Mackenzie's list from the O is at number 12.
Only 3 total in the first round, which is very rare for the OHL.
Off year for the OHL.
The USNTDP has 8 players. The entire OHL league has 3.
Number 13, Arthur Kaliev in Hamilton of the O. Number 14, Raphael Lavoie of Halifax in the Q. And Cam York from the National Development Team, another defenseman to round out the top 15. That is...
not a ton of surprises there. Broberg made a pretty significant jump from a bunch of other rankings I've seen, but when you have a 6'2" defenseman who skates like the wind with offensive instinct, most scouts are going to look past his flaws. Based on the tankathon I ran today, Detroit would be picking number 6. So,
I'll run a tankathon. So number 6 would get them Bowen Byram.
who I would not take there personally.
Who would you take?
Krebs. Assuming the top 5 goes as the top 5, I still think Detroit has a Byram. I've watched a lot of him. I like him. He's a great skater. He's aggressive. He's a good player. I have concerns about his hockey IQ. The talent is there. He's not an elite decision maker, and I don't know if I grab someone in the top 10 that's not an elite decision maker.
Sorry, go ahead. Nothing. I was singing Adele.
Did you run a tankathon?
I'll do it. I did it. Detroit moved down 1 spot to number 5, which would garner...
According to Bob's list, Dylan Cousins.
Number 1 overall pick, Dylan Cousins.
Yeah, exactly. Can't go wrong with that.
No, a centerman would probably round out Detroit's center depth to well above average.
Yeah. And again, I will still argue Detroit has a bigger need for a forward than a defenseman. unless that defenseman is an elite, true number one defenseman. But I hate to be the bearer of bad news. That does not exist in this draft as of right now, from the looks of it.
You could always just try to get like a... When was Victor Hedman drafted?
2009, second overall.
Because there's a defenseman in his draft year who ended up being very good, and I can't remember who it is.
Was it Tyler Myers? Tyler Myers was the year before.
Oh no, that was a great draft year for defensemen. Hedman, Ekman Larson.
Oh yeah.
Ryan Ellis. Nicoletti was there.
But only 2 number one defensemen, which is probably even rare for a draft, if we're being honest.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I was mistaken.
No, it was 2008, I think, was the crazy defenseman draft. Doughty, Pietrangelo, Myers was in that one.
That's what it was.
Yeah, this is the anti-that draft. If you want forwards, you have it in spades in this draft. But as I was saying in some audio that didn't make this episode...
no, I don't make it. It's just at the end.
No,
never mind. We're cutting it.
We're cutting it. We're just going to put the Edmonton at the stuff at the end. This draft, there seems to be a big drop-off at number 3. Again, as much as I like Doc, Cousins, Byram, Krebs, I don't view any of them as elite players. Very, very good players. I think the only 3 players in this draft who I would rank like as elite to high-end are Hughes, Kakko, and Podkolzin. One of the 10 scouts Bob McKenzie surveyed for his list had Podkolzin number 2 over Kakko. I don't agree with that, but that's very interesting. I do agree with the top 3.
Does that solidify the whole Kakko Hughes thing as kind of dead in the water, where Hughes is probably going to hold number 1 now?
Well, Mackenzie's article was still saying it was 10 out of 10 scouts still had Hughes number 1. The gap is closed. They said almost every scout said the gap has closed, but it's still Hughes number 1. But I think the only thing that really pisses me off about the way everything's thing is Detroit, in my mind, now has to win one of the 3 lottery spots to get like a possible franchise-changing player.
They gotta stop winning games.
They do. Advocator missing empty nets helps. That part of the audio staying in. It's going to be an interesting draft because if Detroit gets past, if they get past 3, I don't think there's a huge separation between Doc, Cousins, Krebs, Byram, Broberg, Boldy, Turcotte, Zegras. It's wide open. Honest to God, if Detroit's picking 4, I would heavily entertain a trade back. If there's anybody in that 5 to 10 range willing to do it, I would absolutely consider it. I don't see it's a very deep draft, but it is not a high end draft once you get past the top 3.
Hey Edmonton.
Hey Edmonton. You need a Kirby Doc. He plays like 1 province over from you.
This offseason, I'm gonna get. Are we? Is that it for prospects? You think?
What do you mean?
I want to talk about offer sheets.
You want to talk about offer sheets?
Just very quickly.
Okay, let's talk about offer sheets.
Are they gonna happen this offseason?
No.
All right, that's been offer sheets on the Wing Wheel podcast.
Should they? Yes. Someone was throwing out a crazy theory that you should offer sheet Matthews and Marner.
Yeah.
And then Toronto can only match one of them, and you get the other.
Someone said the Arizona Coyotes, and this is just like some crazy saying something crazy, but the Arizona Coyotes should offer sheet Marner, and when it's matched, you offer sheet Matthews right after.
I'm here for this chaos.
Honestly, that's the kind of chaos that you all need to subscribe to.
Yes, 100%. And if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen to Toronto because if the old guard if the old boys club is ever gonna pick on anybody, it's gonna be the young GMs. So what I am absolutely here for is the 2 young GMs offer sheeting each other.
Yes.
Let's go.
Someone was like, "Oh, you want to give up 4 first-round picks?" I'm sorry, your 4 first-round picks, statistically speaking, none of those players will be as good as Mitch Marner, let alone as good as
For example,
Austin Matthews.
Would you give up Kyle Quincy, Brendan Smith, Larkin, and Rasmussen for Mitch Marner or Austin Matthews?
Is that even a question?
It's like a rhetorical, but please still answer. I know what the answer is.
You would have to be pretty damn confident in turning your team around right away, though, because if those are 4 top 10 picks, you've made an awful mistake. If those are 4 picks, 20 to 30, oh yeah, you'd make that. You do that 10 out of 10 times.
I'd give up 4 Michael Rasmussens. I give up 4.
To be
Dylan
fair,
Larkins.
that was a weak draft and maybe not the best.
To be honest, I might even give up of Zadina right now.
Oh.
You know what you're getting in
Yeah.
both of those players.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at this.
But 4 of them, not just one.
I would give up 4 Zadinas for 1 of Marner or Matthews. You know what
Yeah.
they are. You know what they are. Marner's going to put up 100 points this year.
Okay,
Yeah,
Detroit.
but he's not an all-star.
For fun hypotheticals, if it goes bad, if it goes poorly, Detroit's last 4 first-round picks: Zadina, Rasmussen, Svechnikov, Cholowski, Svechnikov.
I 110,000% do that.
It's not a question. There's 0 questions here.
Zadina,
Don't ask
though.
any questions. No questions, Brad. None. I would give up Zadina 5 times for one of those guys. It's like you.
I hope you're wrong.
Even Edmonton.
I hope you're wrong.
I think
That's
even
my take.
Edmonton would do it.
That's my take. Is I hope you're wrong. I'm not sure you're wrong, but I hope you're wrong. Because we need Zadina to be like not Matthews and Marner good, but like approaching.
I'm not saying I don't like Zadina. I'm saying if giving up that many firsts results in us getting an Austin Matthews or a Mitch Marner, I'm good. I'm good with that.
Like I said, the only way you offer sheet a player like that is you are pretty damn confident you are not making many more top 10 picks.
No. You know, Arizona's like 2 points out of a playoff spot right now, and their roster is pretty much all on IR.
Everybody's hurt. John Shake is actually playing second line defense right now.
Yeah, he'd be the 3rd best defenseman in Detroit, though.
He's too young. He'd be getting scratched.
Yeah. Oh my god.
What, did he really do that?
If they scratched Hronek and put him in, he would be the youngest defenseman on the Red Wings right now.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh my god, he's younger than Nick Jensen.
Hmm.
Oh no.
And with that, should we maybe move to overtime?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna head over to overtime. This is our midweek episode, or our weekday episode. So of course our patrons have exclusive rights to overtime. Their comments read out on air, guaranteed, is our way of saying thank you.
How weird is it listening to overtime 15 minutes into an episode?
Yeah. Hey, nice change of pace.
This will be about an hour-long episode.
Antonio says, thoughts on the rumor that Datsuk might be coming back to the NHL? I'm excited to see his name pop up, but I really think the last thing we need is another veteran player that will hold back the development of the team. Not saying he won't help the players, but our track record shows we are going to stay overly loyal to him to a fault, and accountability will be non-existent because he's the Magic Man.
Okay, I am 100% against bringing someone in for veteran presence. I am 100% against bringing old guys in when you're trying to create roster spots for the young guy. But if we lose Burke, Vanek, and Nyquist, and we bring in Datsuk to mentor Zadina, yes, please. Oh my god, yes. I'm 100% on board. This is the type of veteran presence you want. You do not want Zadina learning from Abdelkader and Helm. You want Zadina learning from Datsuk.
Datsuk is what Holland thinks Vanek should be.
Yes. For all the reasons you brought in Vanek, that's why you bring in Datsuk.
That being said, my guess is this is just posturing from his agent to get a better contract in the KHL.
I 100% agree.
Hunter Saunders says, "Sup guys, it's been a while since I posted on here, but I have been unbearable on Twitter as always to make up for it. With the openings in Edmonton and Seattle, what do you think the chances of Kenny leaving after the season with a year left on his contract to take one of those jobs is?" My guess is I would put it at maybe a 10% chance.
I don't see Kenny leaving Detroit. I think the two most likely scenarios: Kenny takes a higher position in the front office, and Steve Yzerman steps in as the GM this summer. The second most likely option is Kenny steps in and takes a higher position in the Red Wings organization, and Steve Yzerman steps over as GM next summer.
Yes.
And
you'll see when you listen to our stuff that we'll splice in after this, we did mention it, but if we're talking betting odds, it'd still be low. Secondly, do you think there's a chance we see both Cholowski and Hronek in the A after the All-Star break with Daly's impending return and no trades being made yet? I'd be pissed, but Calder Cups are cool too.
There's no way they can send Cholowski down at this point. There is absolutely no goddamn way. They still need a seventh defenseman, even if he's riding the press box, so I don't think we see a point where both go down.
Lastly, how does it feel to see Ohio State surpassing Michigan this season in hockey? I don't think it lasts as OSU is an older team, but it's fun to see as an Ohioan. who can see the state of Michigan from his apartment. Thanks, guys, and have a great weekend. Hey, I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah.
Joe Dippy says, thanks for doing the live stream. It was a fun time. Thank you for joining. Hearing Ken and Ray Ferraro in the Edmonton game was fun, too. Definitely better than the usual knuckleheads on NBC. I'm sure you'll talk about Peter Chiarelli. Stay tuned. But how fitting was the Koskinen signing right before he gets fired? It's like he knew he was getting fired and gave the team a big FU before he left. I think he was trying to save his job.
And then Luke Glendening it.
Yeah. Simon says, hey guys, love the
Oh my god, the empty net made more saves than Koskinen almost.
Yeah. Simon says, hey guys, love the podcast and thanks for always providing quality Wings related content. It's always nice to listen to some good hockey banter in a city where seemingly 99% of the population are Warriors fans who know that the Sharks and NHL exist. Anyway, on to the question. Backtracking to the article, talking about Detroit being a contender in 21-22, how would you guys project our actual 21-22 roster, lines, pairings, goalies if Ken Holland and Blashill were to keep their current jobs? I'm talking questionable line roster decisions, frustrating contract extensions, free agent signings, and all. Cheers. Oh, man.
Remember those 2 top 6 forward spots I was talking about and those 2 top 4 defenseman spots we were talking about? Yeah. Justin Abdelkader, Darren Helm, Jonathan Erickson, and Trevor Daley. And if not those exact players, those type of players.
Jen Eichbrecht, who I believe is a new patron, so thank you for the support and welcome to the family, says, how's it going, Brad and Ryan? I'd asked how Shea Lobsinger, Evan, is doing, but he probably decided to go up to the lake country to get snowed in because of Canada things.
That's Sunday. That's Sunday.
Next episode.
Yeah. First time poster on Patreon, but a long time listener back to some of the first days of the pod. Thank you guys for being a good listen during the week. Thank you so much, Jed. That support means the world to us. My only comment is that I'm thrilled as a hockey fan that Chiarelli got fired because my God is he horrible, but I'm disappointed we never got a chance to fleece him before he got fired. Damn it, Kenny. Take care, gents, and Brad, please shut up. Hashtag Brad Brigade. Oh,
Fitting this episode soon. This is weird talking about stuff we've already talked about.
I know. Thank you again, Jed. Marissa says, hey y'all, today I got a non-hockey question for me and a hockey question for my brother Mike. Hello, Mike. He wants to be a patron, but he's too poor right now. Don't worry about it, Mike. Thank you for your support.
I feel it, buddy. That's why we need the Patreon.
He loves you guys, though, so he's going to do it as soon as he can. Hey, take your time. Your support is all that matters. Mike's question, what percentage of line changes during play are determined directly by the coach, or just when the players feel tired and decide to get off? There's a good amount of strategy behind it. How much of winning the game depends on that.
So changing on the fly, like as in the players coming off the ice, that's 100% on the players. Like the coaches will give direction like 30-45 and get the hell off the ice, but that's still up to the players to determine that. The coach decides who's jumping over the boards when they come off, not when they're coming off.
So in high pressure playoff scenarios, you'll see the head coach make that decision more. In the grind of it, sometimes that'll be deferred to the assistant coach. Some coaches have systems that they'll say like Crisco, you got 45 when he comes off, or they'll say like line 2 is out next. That kind of thing. They have different systems of doing it.
Whistles, they control everything. But
yeah, 90% of the time, the coach decides who's next. There is the odd scenario where a player knows they always come on after this guy fits in like the middle of the cycle. In terms of when they come off, it's when they're tired. That's 85 to 90% of the time. A coach might call them off or say, go out there 30 seconds, get it in deep, and then get right the hell off.
Yeah, like the Glendening, go win this draw on the power play and then leave, even though that doesn't really work. But, you know.
Yeah. Marissa's question, who are your favorite Brooklyn Nine-Nine characters? Mine's probably a tie between Terry and Holt with Jake in second place, but I love all of them. Mine's Holt. I love Holt so much. I watched the 2 episodes, by the way, of the season.
Good. I gotta watch the third one when I go upstairs as I'm editing.
Oh, the third one is out. Yeah.
It's today. I don't know. It's a 3-way tie for me between Holt, Terry, and Gina.
Evan?
What was the question?
Your favorite Brooklyn Nine character?
Oh, I've never watched an episode in my life.
Asshole, you're such a Hitchcock.
I don't watch much TV.
Advanced Water says, are there any draft picks after the first round you guys are excited about?
Nick Robertson, very much so. Pavel Dorofiev, and he's now in Bob's list rankings jumped up just barely into the third round, but I've always had my own Connor ranked Mike Gull.
And I really hope Brett Leeson, Brett Leeson?
Yeah.
I hope he drops a little bit out of the first round.
He's gone up.
I know. He's good.
I know the Islanders are doing disappointingly well for our hopes of a great extra second round pick, but if I remember right, the Red Wings have 4 to 5 extra picks this season. They have 11 total.
They've got a first, they've got 2 seconds, a third, a fourth, I think 3 fifths,
Something like
and
that.
a 6th and a 7th.
Yeah,
I believe.
it's a good season to be. I can actually pull it up right now as I keep reading. The Red Wings next draft, they have an extra second, 2 extra fifths, and then an extra 7th.
But I think the extra 7th is like on a condition that just ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, it's something about Robbie Rousseau. Although, a lot of injuries. Anyway, keep up the good work. Love the podcast. Thank you, Advanced Water. The Needler says, just listen to 31 Thoughts, and it's interesting to hear that the Oilers are interested in Athanasiou. Are there any good trade scenarios you could see where we would part with Athanasiou? Keep in mind that Oilers probably won't move Draisaitl and McDavid.
I repeat, Evan Bouchard. Or if we want to get real optimistic, Ryan Nugent Hopkins.
When Brad says I repeat, he means it'll be in the segment that we splice in after this.
Yes.
Rowan says, I hope you enjoyed elite playmaker Darren Helm's pass to Glendening the other day. It's no coincidence that when Glendening played on a line with elite top liner Darren Helm, he scores 2 goals, is it? I feel like this is a master plan to showcase Glendening and readiness for a very lopsided trade with, I don't know, maybe a team who needs to likely go through Tampa for the Cup and with a coach that loves him. Hello, Toronto. Why, yes, we would be happy with your first and Rasmus Sandin because you should totally mortgage the future for this year.
Do not sleep on an actual, sarcasm aside, do not sleep on an actual trade between Toronto and Detroit, because Detroit has a few pieces that is exactly what Toronto's looking for, and Toronto is said to be shopping everything, every prospect, every pick is available with the exception of Rasmus Sandin. Even Timothy Liljegren is available. And they're first. There could be one hell of a deal there, because Toronto's left side defense, very strong. Right side of their defense, a catastrophic disaster of Detroit levels. Nick Jensen is the perfect fit for what they're trying to do.
Jersey time, favorite All-Star jersey. I can save you the time, it's in 1992. And I'm going to say the 84 to 86 are great as well. Here's a reference link. I want to pull up 1992.
I don't know the year, but I know the jerseys already. Those ones are dope, but
84 to 86 were good. I really like 04s. I love 04s. I think they're awesome. Like Minnesota style.
Pull up mid-90s for me.
It's all here.
Okay, see the purple and black and the white and teal?
Oh,
those ones. Those
are fun.
Those are the winners.
He likes the 94 to 97 ones. Chris Gatchell says, hey guys, we finally got a win and it cost someone their job. Ouch. My question is based on Dan Carcillo. I don't know if you guys follow him on Twitter, but he's been all over the place going after the NHL and representatives of the NHL. People who broadcast for the game like NBC, Sportsnet, TSN guys, mainly how they aren't discussing concussion issues and more. He goes after former players about concussion issues and treatment of the players. Yesterday he posted on his Twitter about the NHLPA salaries and discussed how they use lawyers from New York when they're a union based in Toronto. I guess my question is, how do you guys feel about what Carcillo is doing? Do you feel like his way of doing and what he's doing is the right way to go about it? Here's a link to that NHLPA salary he posted. Here's my thing about Carcillo. I think his overall cause is fantastic. I will never hate on the guy for trying to bring more attention to something that is so devastatingly underrepresented in professional sports. It is going to be looked back on as the biggest source of shame for professional sports in 50 years. Do I think he's sometimes divisive and possibly inflammatory? Yeah. I think that's his point. Do I think sometimes he's just flat out wrong? Yeah. You know, his episode with I believe it was 31 Thoughts. He was talking to Jeff Merrick, the marijuana episode.
Wasn't that Riley Cote?
Wasn't it Carcillo? Oh, you know what? No, that was Riley Cote. Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna pull that back. I retract that. Anyhow, is he divisive? Yes. Is he inflammatory? Yes. But I think that's his point. Whether it's everyone's cup of tea, I think it's fine to have that character within the world of professional sports. I think players who are spoken out about these kinds of things is what professional sports needs more of. I hate milk toast. I hate white bread. Everything in hockey. I don't mind a little bit of character.
What the hell is milk toast?
With a Q.
What the hell are you talking about?
That's what you said, was it not?
Yeah, it is. I'm not going to explain more.
Isn't milk toast almost French toast?
I like the look on your faces.
Now I'm hungry for French toast.
MILQUETOAST. It's like white bread, like bland people. Like it's when we call someone white bread, they're milk toast.
I've never heard of that in my life.
Are you talking about white bread like...
Milk toast.
Is that like a bland like white bread, or is that
a
like
timid
or
racial?
feeble person.
Feeble, insipid, or bland.
Your milk toast, Ryan.
Your milk toast, you dunce. Kaylin Wood says one thing that was brought up on 31 Thoughts Pod. Not as good as my dub boys. Don't hate me for mentioning. No, it's okay. That's a friend pod.
Friend of the podcast, Jeff Merrick. Elliot. Any day now.
I don't think he can. I think contractually he can't. I think that's why.
But Merrick.
He must have. He wanted to be on the dub so bad.
We've already... You realize we have already had 3 separate people under the employ of Sportsnet on this podcast.
Yeah, that's true. He thought it was interesting was that something to the effect of what are player numbers that have a cool story, etc., etc. No one brought up that one of my faves as a 30-year-old, age does matter. I think it's super cool that Crosby, who I still think is a total weenie but appreciate his talents, is 87, the year he was born. McDavid is 97, the year he was born. This is awesome in my book. Who is your favorite? Side note, I'll never root for anyone losing their job, but kind of cool / depressing that the Wings' victory over the Oilers may have been the straw to break the old, sad, weak, bad, super bad back, milk toast back of Chiarelli. He didn't say milk toast. But also, now who do we take advantage of? Cheers, buds. Let's go Red Wings.
So you missed the coolest part of Crosby's number. It's not just that he was born in 1987. He was born on August 7th, 1987. So his birthday is literally 8787.
And his contract value is...
8.7.
I thought it was because it was a prime number.
I don't know too many other really cool number stories. There's the Gretzky story of he idolized Gordie Howe. When he got to Sault Ste. Marie, he wanted number 9, but one of the vets already said number 9. He wore, I think, number 14 for a couple games until the trainer said...
It's my favorite number.
Said, why not
Oh,
2
nice.
9s?
That's true.
And he's been wearing 99.
I thought it was the year he was born.
69 would be
18.
hilarious. P.S. I think it kind of sucks that I can't order a Wings All-Star sweater. You literally can't buy one unless I'm a dumb idiot. Fans, correct me if I'm wrong. You can't?
I've never attempted to buy an All-Star jersey, so I couldn't tell you.
That'd be stupid.
AliExpress has one coming your way in 4 to 6 months.
And it's probably going to spell Howard with a T.
I remember they spelled Nyquist with an I at the end.
Nyquisty? Or was it Nyquisty?
It was brutal. I was like, something's wrong with this jersey. I can't quite figure it out. And then I learned to spell again.
I'm looking it up right now, and you cannot.
What? Really?
This is NHL Shop Canada.
Those... It says you can buy them.
No, that's not the Detroit though.
Oh.
Yeah, let's see about America though.
That's because Jimmy Howard's been traded, and we haven't found out yet.
Jimmy Howard's thick, hey? Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
He is. But you know what? He deserves it, and his play hasn't suffered.
That's the most impressive part.
Yeah.
He's like a lunch pail kind of guy, like Ben Roethlisberger.
The next comment is from someone who gave me the pronunciation of their name before and I forgot it, so forgive me if I say it wrong. Mike Gemignani says, "Hey guys, I know Antonio mentioned the Datsuk rumor already, but I saw a Yahoo article where his agent said he would be a center on the second or third line or a wing on the first or second line and play on the first power play. Just hoping to get your thoughts on this. At 40, I think that's a little ambitious. As always, great job. Loving the podcast. Go Wings, but only kinda because Hughes." I don't think he's that wrong.
Second line winger on the current iteration of the Detroit Red Wings, yeah, he'd fit in just fine.
Yeah.
I feel like Yager is still maybe a better fit because I bet you he's still just yoked out of his mind.
Think of Datsuk, Mantha, and Athanasiou. Datsuk centering those two. They find the open space with their speed. Datsuk
Ryan,
doesn't.
I'm wearing very thin pants.
Yeah, I was gonna
Chill.
say this is gonna get uncomfortable for you. Boy, I really want to see if we can buy these jerseys. I don't think it's fair that we wouldn't be able to. I'm gonna try one more time. Let's head over to the American store, where our dollars are worth absolutely nothing.
Oh, it's horrible.
And we click on this, and you can't buy a Red Wings All-Star jersey.
Oh yeah,
They're literally not selling them. What
There's
the hell?
Every other team's jersey.
Oh my god! That's
Wait, is there every other team's jersey?
I'm not counting that.
It looks close. We'll take the guess and say that every other team's on there.
That's embarrassing. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is our end of episode readout. And then, if you want to listen to the audio where Brad sounds like he's on the other side of not on the other side of the room, across the table, stay tuned. Please tune your volume level to my voice, not what you will hear as Brad's. Just be cool with Brad's being a little quieter, tune to my voice for the sake of your eardrums. It's not that bad. We did fix it a little bit.
Yeah, we levelated it. You should be able to
So, but it is what was originally the first part of this episode. But to wrap up, because we're gonna technically stop recording right now, we want to thank all of you for listening, all our supporters, our Patreon patrons, our name level sponsors: Sean Levine, Chad Hiersack, Sky Carcass, Arjun Shanker, Clayton Van Dyken, Langevere, Derek Shippert, Kaylin Wood, Charlie Elkins, Stan Olson, Ryan Lewis, Dan Bell, Hannah Lee. Thank you all so much. All our listeners, if you guys want to support the show in other ways, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Winged Wheel Pod, and then follow our individual accounts. We love interacting with you on Twitter.
I don't know if I got cut out. Don't forget to include the Evan bet.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Evan has to contribute to the something that we're doing on the Sunday episode, or the Sunday episode, which is mid-season awards. And he said the only way he'll do it is if he reaches 1,000 followers. He's currently at 993.
You'd explain it because I'm not here. I don't want to do it.
Oh yeah.
Evan's not here. He doesn't want to submit his list, so me and Ryan can absolutely shred it.
Yeah.
Without him being here to defend himself.
Yeah.
And how do we take it when the Hart MVP award winner is Steve Austin?
Hey, he's up there again this year.
He listened to Dylan Cousins.
That's weird.
And with that, stay tuned. We are going to transition now into what should have been the beginning of episode audio, which we did recover. Our streak of only losing one episode ever continues. Enjoy.